Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope all is doing well. Well, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the extreme heat that has hit the United States, or where I'm at in the South. Yesterday, we hit a high with the real field temp of 116 degrees. That's right, 116 degrees. It was so unbearable. I mean, I worked outside for a little bit before the heat set in, and I was just dripping with sweat, and I was just, it hit me like a heat wall. So today I'm going to be talking about how I stay, or some of the tips that I use here on the homestead or off-grid cabin to stay cool during extreme heat. Before we start the video, if you experience any of the symptoms that I'm going to talk about when it comes to heat exhaustion and heat stroke, seek medical attention, because that's not something to play around with. So hopefully the tips that I can offer you, how I stay cool, will help you guys out. Now, we've been fairly lucky here in the South. I mean, May and June was pretty calm, but the end of July and August about to hit us just flipped the switch. And a lot of friends of mine and a lot of people I know have traveled out west to Colorado, New Mexico. They have gone up to altitude. We're talking about 8 to 12, 13,000 feet where it's nice and cool. In fact, I got a text from a buddy of mine. Him and his wife said it was 70 degrees as a high and low as 40, high 40s at night, which is incredible. Last year I did that. I spent 4 months on the West Coast, or I should say the Pacific Northwest, Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. But I will be leaving for a trip here soon to join them to spend a couple weeks up at altitude. Here in the South, summers are often filled with days of extreme heat and high humidity. Now, the heat index measures how hot it feels when relative humidity is factored in with the actual air temperature. It is recommended that residents or you stay indoors or stay safe during hot weather, and hopefully these tips will assist you of what you need to do. Now, from the NOAA Weather Center, they classify excessive heat with watch and warnings, just like a tornado or a thunderstorm. Now, excessive heat watch is issued when dangerous heat is possible. So we are already in a watch because they say it's going to be about 115, 116 degrees today. Now, you should reschedule outdoor activities in the coming days. Make sure you know that your children and the elderly, especially the elderly and pets, have a place that is cool and out of the heat. Now, we forget about pets and elderly folks. Of course, you want to take care of your children, but pets need a lot of water as well. Stay inside. Now, my German Shepherd, Hoku, I've got her inside here in the cabin, and I've got the AC running, and I try to keep it about 72 degrees. Yesterday, I had to bump it up or bump it down a little bit just because of the heat. Now, when they issue a excessive heat warning, it's when dangerous heat is happening or about to happen. Okay, you should avoid heavy activity and direct sunlight, and you need to stay hydrated and find a cool place and check on children, your elderly, and your pets. Now, if I gotta leave to go somewhere to get something, to pick up, supplies or groceries, one, I'll take Hoku with me because I have air conditioning in the truck, and I'll let that run, or I'll bump it down here at the cabin and I'll go for a little. I do not leave her unattended for hours, especially when excessive heat warning is in place. Now, the health department recommends that you follow these steps to stay cool. Now, the first thing is water, okay? You want to have a lot of water on hand. Now, I carry water in the truck, in Sarge, in my fridge in there. I have water here at the off-grid cabin, and I have water in some buckets as well, because you want to stay hydrated during these warnings. Now, increase water consumption. You want to drink lots of fluid even before you start getting thirsty, and you want to avoid drinks such as caffeine, alcohol, and large amounts of sugar. I know that's hard to do, especially when you like your Coke, or Dr. Pepper or your coffee, but you want to stay away from those during, these heat warnings. And it's just for a couple hours or a day or two. So kind of think about it before you start sipping on any of that, because those drinks can actually result in the loss of body fluid. Now, you want to conduct outdoor work or excessive during or exercise early in the mornings or evening when it's cooler. A couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, we had the Gumby gathering out in the Ozarks, and I didn't drink all day. I mean, I had a couple sips of water and stuff, and by the time the sun went down, I was feeling delirious. I was confused. They said I was not making sense when I was trying to carry on a conversation. I was throwing up, dry heaving. So they ended up taking me to the emergency room in Conway, and they found out, or they diagnosed me with having severe dehydration, which, you know, they started an IV drip and replaced the fluids. Now, if you got to work outdoors, now hats off to those folks who work outdoors. I mean, the guys that are on the road, you know, doing road work, you know, and hopefully some of these companies take that in consideration. Like the military, they have what they call black flag. They fly the black flag, meaning, you know, no exercise, no work outside, and until that black flag is lowered, you know, you just stay indoors in the air conditioner. Now, outdoor workers should drink plenty of water and electrolyte replacement beverages and take frequent breaks to get out of the heat or go in the shade. Now, if you're accustomed to working or exercise in a hot environment, now I am from Hawaii, and I've been in hot environments before, but it's been years now, and between the West Coast heat and the South heat is totally different. The humidity, I mean, it's crazy. You could take a shower, walk right outside, and start dripping sweat. Now, when you get to the West Coast, such as I was in Moab last year in 100-degree temperature, I think 105, but it wasn't humid. So, you know, it was bearable. It was hot, but it, you know, I wasn't dripping sweat into my eyes or just. So just remember that if you're accustomed to working or exercise in a hot environment, you need to start slowly and gradually to increase your heat exposure or for several weeks. Now, use the buddy system when working outside. Let your body acclimate to the heat before you even try to exercise. I don't know even why you would want to exercise in 115-degree heat. Go to the gym, work out indoors. You also want to wear light-colored or loose-fitting clothing that permits the evaporation of perspiration. You know, even if you have to take off your shirt, you know, pour some water over your head, you know, just to stay a little bit cooler. Now, you don't want to leave your children and senior citizen or pets unattended in the vehicle. Now, coming from a law enforcement background, you know, we had a lot of calls of people leaving pets in the vehicles when they go shopping. You know, they crack open the windows of your vehicle, and, you know, yeah, there may be some water in there, but the heat temperature in a vehicle significantly intensifies, where, you know, children and pets could die in there. What they always used to tell us is look before you lock. And that means don't forget about sleeping children. Cars heat up quickly even if the windows are slightly open. Now, before we get into the tips, let's talk about heat exhaustion and heat stroke. They're both serious conditions and caused by overheating, featuring key symptoms like heavy sweating, confusion, and high body temperature. Now, heat exhaustion symptoms, we're talking heavy sweating, cool, pale or clammy skin, dizziness or fainting, nausea or vomiting, headache, weakness, extreme tiredness, fast or weak pulse, or muscle cramps. And I had a lot of those at the Gumby gathering. Now, heat stroke, okay, is very serious because now your body temperature is about over 104 degrees. Now, let's talk about heat stroke symptoms, which is very serious. Now, that's when your body temperature reaches above 104 degrees or 40 degrees Celsius. You get confused, agitated, or your altered mental state. Now, you have slurred speech. You cannot carry on a conversation. And then you have, you know, in cases, you can lose consciousness or go into a coma. Now, before any of those symptoms, heat-related symptoms, comes in effect, heat exhaustion or stroke, you will start experience what they call heat cramps. Now, the symptoms of heat cramps are painful muscle cramps and spasm, usually in the legs or the abdomen. Now, if you ever had a cramp in your stomach or your abdomen, man, it sucks. It hurts. And then it follows with heavy sweating. Now, the first aid thing that you want to do for that is you want to apply firm pressure on the cramping muscles or gently massage to relieve the spasm. And then take small sips of water. Unless the person complains of nausea, then you do not give them anything to drink at all. Now, you want to seek immediate medical attention if the cramps last longer than 1 hour, and get them to a medical facility. Now, another way you can stay cool out of the heat is staying indoors. So we're talking shopping malls, libraries, facilities like gyms. And what I tell people to do, if it's so hot out there, go watch a movie, catch a movie, because these movie theaters keep it cold even when it's not hot outside. So, you know, that's a great way to spend the afternoon in the heat. You know, have you a snack and watch a movie and stay cool. And I'm also going to talk about how I keep my cabin cool. Now, if you've seen any of my videos, if you go back a couple, I installed a 12-volt split unit air conditioning system, which is 12,500 BTU, from a company called OutEquip Pro. Now, that air conditioner is ran off of my solar and all my batteries back here. I have a 12-volt system separate from this 48-volt system. And then I have a window unit right here. That's 6,000 BTU, and I use that to supplement if it gets even hotter. But there hasn't been a time where I had to run both these air conditioners on high. Now, you want to pay attention to the temperature in your house. I keep one of these thermometers right next to the bed, and right now it's 79 in here with 39% humidity, and I can monitor my temperatures in the cabin that way. Now, you do not want to use your stove or your oven as much as possible during these temperatures because the heat just kills the temperature in your home. You want to install window air conditioners and securely insulate it if possible. You want to check your air conditioning ducts for proper installation. And then you want to weather strip your doors and stills if you feel that air is escaping underneath. You want to cover windows that receive morning or afternoon sun. So what I'll do is I'll draw the blinds and close the windows, because the sun will pop out on these windows first in the morning and shine some sunshine in there, and you can feel the heat. Now, I know some folks that even put aluminum foil on the window to reflect the heat from coming in. Now, with me spending a lot of time outdoors, especially dispersed camping or my outdoor adventures, or here at the off-grid cabin, I need to replace those fluids, and I use what they call Liquid I.V. And this right here is a hydration multiplier, and it comes in a pack of 6, and it is a little pricey. They're $10, but like I said, this thing is pretty awesome. Now, Liquid I.V. is a popular brand of powder drink that is designed to enhance hydration faster and more efficiently than water alone. Now, Liquid I.V. is a hydration multiplier, like I just said, and it uses specific blends of sodium, potassium, and glucose to improve water absorption in the body. Now, this thing is the watermelon flavor. They have different flavors. I found that watermelon seems to taste the best, and my buddy Chuck from Whiskey Dog Outdoors was the one that told me about the watermelon flavor. I was using orange or strawberry, and it was okay, but I recommend using the watermelon flavor. Now, electrolytes in here, you know, it has high amounts of electrolytes and sodium and potassium to replenish minerals lost through sweat. Now, this also contains glucose and sugar, 11 grams of cane sugar per serving to activate the cellular transport process. And this thing is packed with vitamins. We're talking about B3, 5, 6, 12, and vitamin C. Now, you want to use this for fast rehydration. It is used by a lot of the athletes that do endurance sports, travelers, and individuals recovering from intense activity and dehydration. I refused to drink any of this at the Gumby gathering because I didn't know what to drink, and I was so confused and lightheaded. But they tried to give me some Liquid I.V. and I should have took it. Now, varied lines beyond basic hydration, Liquid I.V. offers targeted formulas for sleep, energy, and also immune support. So you know, think about that. It's only 50 calories. It's soy-free, dairy-free, and it's vegan. So, and the packs just look like this. So what I usually do is I dump one of this in a water bottle, just like that, or a mug with ice, and then I'll sip on that. I'll probably have one of these today when it gets, probably this afternoon. It's about, I think 2 o'clock is when it's supposed to be the hottest. But you can pick this up at any of your big box stores, Walmart, Kroger, whatever. So this thing's the key. So I carry one of these boxes in Sarge as well. Now, if you have to get out of the heat, you know, go to somewhere that has air conditioning. And for me, here at the cabin, I use what they call a split unit air conditioner. And this is from a company called Out-Equip Pro. Now, this unit runs off a 12-volt system. When I say 12-volt system, it runs off my lithium iron phosphate batteries. I have two 200 amp hour batteries from Li-Time, and they're wired in parallel. Okay. Now, when I say parallel, there's parallel and series. Parallel is you keep the same voltage but increase the watt hours or the amp hours. Series is you increase the voltage and your amp hours stay the same. So I want longevity, especially if you want something that's going to last a while, you want to wire it in parallel. Now I can turn this thing on. The louver's open. And then right now, we can bring it all the way down and bring the fan up, and it's fairly quiet. You hear it ramping up, and now I've got cold air, and I do have an indicator of my battery right up here, so I know how much usage I can get. Now, if I turn this unit on at night, I can get about 9.5 hours on my battery system for that. So that'll take me through the night and keep everything nice and cool. If for some reason I have an issue with that, then I'll go to my window unit, which is 6,000 BTU. And I've used both. They both, the window unit uses about 600 watts, 6 to 650. But that is a 110 air conditioner. The 12-volt air conditioner, the split unit, uses about 450 watts, and it has a lot more BTUs. Now, another option is to use ice packs. These are great for swelling or keeping cool on your important, arteries, like your femoral artery, which is on your thigh, your brachial artery that's in your neck. You can place, ice packs on your neck. You can place it under your arm or keep it on your femoral down below and keep your core temperature down. That's a great way to get it down if you think your core temperature is heading upwards of 104 degrees. Now, I'm going to show you something that I used to keep cool. And you might be saying, well, why do you use a jacket? This is a lightweight jacket extract from a company called Relaxit. Now, these are ice packs that go inside of the jacket to keep you cool. Now, these are self-absorbing packages. You want to basically take this packet, soak it in water and for about 5 minutes and let it absorb the water. And I'll be doing a full review on this here in the next couple days, but we're just going to talk about the weather so you can get updates on this right here. So I tune into 162.550. That's the weather channel in my area, the frequency. And let's hear what they're saying.
110 early in the evening. Tuesday, sunny with highs in the upper 90s. West winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. Heat index values up to 112. Tuesday night, partly cloudy in the evening, then becoming mostly cloudy. A slight chance of thunderstorms in the evening. A chance of showers. Lows in the mid-70s. North winds around 5 miles an hour. Chance of rain 30%. Heat index values up to 106 early in the evening. Wednesday, mostly sunny. A slight chance of showers in the morning.
Okay, so they're calling for up to 110 degrees heat index. today, and tomorrow it'll come down just a little bit. But having a emergency radio comes in handy, especially when the grid goes down. So like I said, it's hand crank, solar, or USB. It has a flashlight, SOS. But like I said, I'll be doing a review on this here soon. And then, of course, you want, to have a radio. I usually give one of these to some friends when they're traveling. But I do have these radios that were sent to me, and I'll be doing a review on these as well. But having a good radio, this is a global radio, so I can check on friends and family all over the United States or even worldwide. And they're great radios to have, especially if you need to check on folks. Like I said, it's pretty much global, so I can talk to them anywhere in the world. It's one of those push-to-talks like the old Nextel, but
welcome to the intercom.
So you could see that right there. So that's another way you can stay in touch with your friends and family to keep them safe if the grid goes down during these hot temperatures. Pretty much that's it. I mean, as far as what I use to stay cool, what I use for my emergency preparations, how I take care of myself and Hoku during this extreme heat. Now, like I said, if you start experiencing any of these symptoms I told you about for heat exhaustion or heat stroke, you need to address it right away. Get out of the heat, and if you need to seek medical attention, seek medical attention. Call 911. But I needed to at least share this video with you guys because there's a lot of folks out there that aren't prepared, and they just kind of gut through it. And for me, living off the grid and on this homestead with no electricity from the grid, just on batteries, I have a little bit more of a buffer as far as if the grid goes down, because we all know if your air conditioner fails during summer, it is unbearable. That's why I have 2 air conditioners. I'm a big proponent of redundancy. Get a generator is another one if you don't have solar panels. Get you some batteries to store electricity and power that you can get from the sun. And everything that I had in my home before I sold it, I have here. I have a television, I have internet, I have lamps, I have a stove, I have a refrigerator. And a lot of those I just mentioned, I have redundancy for it, so in case one fails. And you want to be prepared. A lot of folks nowadays are not prepared for anything. And being prepared is a key to having a successful outcome. Now, a lot of folks, this is how they prepare. They wait until the inclement weather, storm, or whatever is coming, hurricane, tornado, they go out and get items just before it hits. So that's why the stores are always, packed, sold out. You can't get water. You can't get, I don't know what it is about bread and milk, but water. There's ways you can store water. If there's not, you can store it in your bathtub. I've got jugs, I've got containers, and I've got generators, I've got fuel. So, don't wait till the last minute to be prepared, especially when you have inclement weather like this excessive heat that's coming. I've got plenty of water, I've got plenty of Liquid I.V, I've got plenty of air conditioning, and I got a lot of movies on Netflix. So, and if this is your first time to the channel, consider subscribing, like, comment, share, and I'll be doing a little bit more in-depth on the Midland emergency radios and the EZF worldwide global handheld walkie-talkies as well. So anyway, I hope this video helps you out. I hope you guys stay nice and cool during this extreme heat. And if you got any questions, pop them in the box below. I'll answer them the best I can. And I appreciate you guys watching the channel. So until the next video, this is Off Grid Gumby out.